When you hear the luxury brand name Cartier, which watch do you think of first? It probably didn't take all that long for a few models to pop in your head, but I'm almost positive this one did not. It's the Cartier Ballon Bleu. Sure, it is a very popular watch, but it doesn't quite have the rich heritage as some of its more angular, iconic family members. To be honest, it never really captured my attention until I wore this 42mm 18-karat rose gold version for a week, and I walked away quite impressed. The Cartier Tank, the Santos, even the Crash, all iconic watches from Cartier that have been around longer than a lot of us have. The Ballon Bleu, on the other hand, is fairly new. It was only introduced around 15 years ago, and it was a pretty big success. It wasn't uncommon to see it on the wrists of movie stars, political figures, and even royalty, but for some reason, I never really bought into it. In my head, Cartier watches are known for their cool case shapes, so why would I choose a regular round watch from their catalog? Well, it's funny. It turns out the round case became my favorite part of this watch. If we look closely, we'll see that the Ballon Bleu isn't your traditional round watch. The case is in fact round, but it's domed on the top and bottom and shaped like a pebble or a smooth flying saucer from one of those old black and white videos. I don't know of any other watches from any major watch brands that have a case shaped quite like this one. It's a unique design that's further emphasized by the case's tiny lugs. I was initially wary of a 42mm dress watch. That's just too big for me, but it wears much smaller than the spec sheet would suggest, in part because of the bezel to dial ratio and those small lugs. The lug to lug length of this 42mm watch is only 44mm. That's really compact. I recently spent a week on the wrist with the 39mm FP Journe Chronomet Blue, and that watch has a lug-to-lug distance of 46.6mm, which isn't a bad thing, but it gives you an idea of how the Ballon Bleu wears smaller than you think. It's also 13mm thick, but the smooth, rounded shape makes it look and wear a bit thinner to me. Another unique thing about the pebbled case is how the crown is actually kinda integrated into the case. It helps maintain the flow of the pebbled shape while also providing a little protection for Cartier's signature blue cabochon nestled within the crown. However, that protection does come at a slight cost because I found it a little difficult to manipulate the crown. It's doable, just not as easy as I'm used to with most other watches. That crown is also cleverly integrated into the dial. The minute track curves inward at the crown position to make room for the date window and to match the roundness of the crown. In my opinion, it's a really cool look that breaks up the symmetry of the dial, and I love asymmetrical dials when done right. This watch does it in a way I've never seen before, and I really dig it. The dial's guilloche sunburst pattern plays really well with the light, and the large Roman numeral hour markers keep things classy. I mean, what else do you expect from a brand like Cartier? Inside the Ballon Bleu, you'll find Cartier's own in-house caliber 1847 MC. That name is actually a nod to the year Cartier was founded, which was 1847. It's a mechanical self-winding movement that hacks, beats at 4 Hz, and has a 40-hour power reserve. Kinda low, but I'm realizing low power reserves don't really bother me all that much. I find myself wearing one watch for a few weeks or months at a time, then switching to another. I don't know of any watches with a few weeks worth of power, so whether it's 40 hours or 120 hours, it doesn't really affect me. No matter what, I'll end up having to set the time. Regarding accuracy, I don't think Cartier provides a rating, but from my experience, it was always just fast 2 to 3 seconds per day, which for me is excellent. I always appreciate a fairly accurate mechanical movement. It also probably helps that there were no expectations to begin with. Lastly, it comes on a brown alligator leather strap with a deployment buckle that hides the leftover strap under itself, giving it a really clean look. I wish more watch brands did this. It's a small detail that I didn't know I'd appreciate until now. Alright, so I wore this watch for a week. It was comfortable and fit my 7.25-inch wrist great. I wore it with semi-dressy clothes, as you can see from some of the video clips, but I also wore it with more casual clothing off camera. I'm not talking jeans and a t-shirt, that's actually kind of dressed up for me, but sweatpants and a hoodie casual. That's my everyday Southern California winter attire. No matter what I wore this watch with, I felt like it still worked. I tend to feel that way with a lot of Cartier watches. I think the classic design lends itself to being a versatile watch to wear. Here's an example. I personally don't think something like a Rolex Submariner or any other dive or sport watch goes well with a suit, but it looks great dressed down. On the other hand, the Ballon Bleu would look fantastic in a suit, and the classic dressy design can elevate your casual outfits, making even those sweatpants look just a little more fancy. It's versatile enough to be a daily watch unless you go in the water a lot because it only has 30 meters of water resistance. Remember, this is all just my opinion, of course. Wear your watch with whatever the hell you want. It's all preference. I also love the way the gold looks on my skin, and I think it'd complement a variety of other skin tones as well, darker ones especially. So yes, the Ballon Bleu is a round watch from Cartier, but in true Cartier fashion, it's a uniquely shaped round watch that I think has a lot of appeal. I don't think it'll ever be the first watch that comes to mind when thinking of Cartier, but I think if you want something from their catalog that isn't a square or rectangle, oddly, this round watch might be the more daring pick. I really like it.